Noreen and welcome to my kitchen. Last weekend we made some fabulous soft farmer's cheese and cream cheese, and now I'm going to show you, and we're going to learn together because I've never done this before, how to make cottage cheese. It seems to be a really simple process. It just takes some time, and like all things that are worth doing, they take time. So what we have here is 1 gallon of whole milk. You can use skim milk if you like, it doesn't matter, but this is 1 gallon of whole milk. And I have let it come to 70 degrees temperature. I've basically had it been sitting out here. If you just left it out at room temperature, like overnight, you're gonna be fine. But this is I just took the temperature. It's right around where we need it to be, between 70 and 80 degrees. So, if you were to stick your finger in there, it's all gonna be good. Ew, I don't know what that is, but okay. It's like not even that warm if you stuck your finger in there. So if you'll come over here, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. That needs to be between 70 and 80 degrees. What we're going to do in order to coagulate our curd is we're going to use junket rennet. This is a product that has been on the store shelves for years and years and years. My grandmother used to use this. It's great for thickening custards and making homemade ice cream, and it's also great for making all kinds of cheeses. You can make mozzarella cheese with this, you can make a hard cheese, you can make feta cheese, you can make cottage cheese, you can make a soft spreadable cheese. I sound like Forrest Gump, don't I? We are not gonna go there. Alright, so the way these tablets come, they come in these packets. There's 8 junket tablets, and if you find these, I highly recommend you pick up a few boxes and just stick them in your storage. They're not going to go bad. They're wrapped in a little foil pouch, and this is what they look like. I'm going to take it out here. Okay, you see there's little score marks in there. We're going to use 1/4 of one. So let's see if I can. Ta-da! The remaining 3/4, I'm just going to go ahead and put back in this little foil pouch, if I can get it open. The only other ingredients that we're going to use right now is we're going to plop this in a 1/2 cup of water. That 1/4 of the tablet we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of water, and I'm going to go ahead and get a spoon and break that up. This is a 1/2 cup of buttermilk, all right? So basically the buttermilk is going to help inoculate the milk so that it will form a curd.
It's already dissolved.
It's
already dissolved.
Is it? I like to give it a stir. All right. That's all right. Okay, I'm going to carry this whole tray, this whole board over to the stove. All right. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour this buttermilk in there. Buttermilk is going to introduce the positive bacteria and culture. You can also choose to use yogurt if you like. It's all good. And then we are going to start pouring the water that has the dissolved rennet tablet in, just like that. You want to keep it moving. Stir it for about 30 seconds. And then the hardest part. Now we wait. We're going to want this to coagulate, form a curd. So, it's going to go to sleep and have a nice long nap for 12 to 18 hours. Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll cut the cheese. Yes, I said it. I knew it. Yeah, there's my 12-year-old husband smiling from ear to ear. We're going to come back and we're going to cut the curd, and then we're going to have to cook it for a little while, and then we're going to drain the curds from the whey, because, you know, that's what Miss Muffet was eating, curds and whey, cottage cheese. And then we'll move on. So tomorrow morning, after we've had a good night's rest, we'll come back and we'll finish this up. It is 10:30 the next morning, and this is what it looks like. We have achieved solidification, whatever you want to call it. It smells like cheese.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is cut the curd. And you're just going to need a long knife. I have my icing spatula here. You're going to want to do about 1/2 inch. Just come down and draw your knife through so we can see that the combination of inoculating the milk with the buttermilk culture and the rennet have both done their job. And like I said, you can use skim milk for this or 2% milk. I like a whole milk cottage cheese. I think is very tasty. And then I'm going to turn the pot. And then you'll be able to see the whey that's collected. Just draw your knife right through there. You're building your curd now. You're cutting your curd. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn the heat on. And we're going to bring it to 110 degrees. And we're going to maintain a temperature of 110 degrees for 30 minutes. We're not going to boil this. We're just going to make it warm, okay? The other thing you want to do is this. You want to kind of angle your knife and cut the curd that way, because right now what you've got is a bunch of pretty large chunks. And don't, have a gentle hand with this, okay? And they don't have to all be perfect shapes, but you do want them to be broken up a bit. I'm going to turn my heat on to medium. I'm going to take a temperature right now just to see where we're at and how much further we have to go. We are almost at like 75 degrees, so we've got a bit. So I'm going to bring this up to temperature. It's going to want to be 110 degrees, which is going to be straight up on this thermometer. So when that happens, I'll bring you back. I'll show you what it looks like. We'll give it a couple of gentle stirs, and then we'll just keep stirring every now and then, maintaining the temperature at 110 degrees for 30 minutes. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, we have reached 110 degrees, and now we're gonna fall back on our heat. I've moved my the heat on the stove. I put back to low. Okay, and we're just going to give this a couple of gentle stirs. We're going to maintain 110 degrees for 30 minutes, so I'll set my timer, and every 5 minutes or so I'll come over here and I'll give this a gentle stir. So I'll set my my pathetic timer that needs new batteries for 5 minutes. That way I'll know I need to come back and stir it. But we'll want to make sure that we maintain 110 degrees because you don't want this to boil, and you certainly don't want it to get too hot, because if it gets too hot, then you'll ruin your curd. So we want to make sure that we keep it, take your temperature and then give it a couple of stirs, and it'll all be good. And of course, if you stir it too much, then you're going to end up with a bunch of mush. You're not going to end up with cottage cheese. And I like a small curd anyway, so we've got a mixture in here of small and large, so it's all good. It's going to be great. When we come back, we will get ready to drain this, and then we'll be ready to drain and wash. So we'll be back. Okay, it has been just about 30 minutes. You can go anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. Give it a gentle stir every 5 minutes. If you see some curds in there that are really, really big, you can just break them up with your spoon a little bit. But you can see this is really starting to look like cottage cheese. And because as you've stirred and created motion in that water, the curds have become a little bit smoothed out and rounded, and it looks more like what you're used to in what you would purchase at the grocery store. We're going to go ahead and drain this. I have a sieve here that I have lined with a flour sack towel, and I have moistened it before I poured my cheese into it. Just get all that goodness in there. I'm going to want to let all that whey drain out of there. And it's going to take a minute, but it'll happen. Sometimes lifting up the bag kind of helps. You want to drain as much whey out of there as possible. And if you just have to turn your back on it for a little while, it's all good. The other thing I wanted to mention is, just like with canning, whenever you're producing any type of dairy product, you want to make sure that you've cleaned out your sink and all of your utensils and pots and strainers, and everything has been given a nice bleach rinse or washed with hot water and soap. So,
Scotty wants some curd.
Scotty wants some curd. Well, Scotty's going to have to wait. Okay, so give it a bit of a shake. And today I didn't save my whey because I have a giant jar of whey out in my other refrigerator. So that would be way too much whey anyway.
No way.
Whey? We have way too much fun with the whey jokes.
Way too much.
We really do. What?
No.
Really? Just knocked over the chair. No. I'm not going to give him a piece.
Come on.
I'm just not.
There's plenty.
I know. Alright. So you want to let this drain for like 5 minutes. So I'm going to do that. And then when we come back, we're going to wash the curd. We'll be back. Okay, you can see that the cheese is nicely drained now. So we've got like a solid mass almost of curds here. So what we're going to do is we're going to gather up our bag again. Don't squeeze it too much. But in order to remove the rest of the whey from the cheese, we're going to dip it here. We're going to dip the whole bag in a pan of cold water. And we're going to kind of massage it without allowing it to come apart like that. Mm-hmm. Don't do that because we don't want to lose any of that cheese that we just worked so hard to make. Okay. Get a good hold of it. And you can see that it's starting to get milky. This also is going to stop the cooking process and slightly cool down the curd. Just kind of put your hand under the bag and gently agitate the curd inside the bag. Do not take the curd out of the bag. It will make a giant mess and you'll totally defeat the purpose. And now you can see that water is running somewhat clear. Not as clear as I would like it to be. So the other thing that you can do now is you can dip it again in this water. Just to get as much whey out of it as possible as we're washing this curd. And you have to take time to do that, otherwise you're not actually going to end up with cottage cheese. You're going to end up with more of a solid spreading cheese. Because what we're doing now is you're washing the whey off of that curd, so these become individual pieces of cheese or individual curd. You just hold that bag up a little. I'm going to set it down in my strainer. I'm going to remove this and get rid of this pot so I can wash it. I cleaned out the pot that we cooked it in, and now we're going to add some ice to some fresh water. You're going to stir with your hand. Now what we're going to do is set the curd. This is going to cool the curd down all the way. Again, agitate that curd with your hand you're still going to see some whey come out and cloud the water, but that's okay. That's what you want. Now we're going to set this back in the strainer, in the bag, and we're going to let this sit for another 5 minutes. This is what it looks like right now. That's your washed and cooled curd. And you can see, you can put your hands in there, and it's separate. It is not warm anymore because we've cooled it in that ice bath. But it does still have some moisture in there that we want to drain out. So I'm going to let that sit for 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll finish the process. Okay, we're ready to proceed. Our curd is drained. I'm just going to pick it up in the bag. And I have a stainless steel bowl here. Make sure you get as much water out of there as possible. A little bit is fine, but that much is too much, okay? And this is, I said, I've never done this before. I only know what I've researched. So, we're all going to learn together here. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's empty our bag into our bowl. Okay, now we're going to salt this. I had to get all my stuff out, sorry. Pink salt, a heaping teaspoon, maybe a little more. Remember, pink salt is a little saltier than regular salt. Yes, you can just salt it to taste, but also remember, salt is somewhat of a preservative here too, so the salt is also going to help your curd remain firm. And that's why, like when you open sour cream or cottage cheese, you have a little pool of whey on the top. That's because there's salt in there and it's drawing out the whey. So that also acts as a preservative and helps keep your curd firm. So I'm going to taste this. Oh, yay. And we're going to add a little bit of heavy cream. About 1/3 of a cup. Toss that in. And this also is one of those to taste kind of deals, okay? How thick do you like your cottage cheese? Because I know that I don't like mine runny at all. And the best part about this is you know what's gone into this cottage cheese. There's no thickeners, there's no gums, there's no preservatives, no additives. There's milk, buttermilk, cream, and salt. That's it. So my husband loves cottage cheese, so I'm going to have you taste this, honey. Yes?
Very good.
I want to taste it.
Did you make enough for everybody?
Oh my god. You're going to show me. That is amazing. I'm not kidding. Who said you could have more? This is incredible cottage cheese. Now I need a jar of peaches or a can of pineapple or both.
Weird because I'm used to eating ice cold out of the refrigerator.
That is so amazing. And you made it with a gallon of milk. I made it with a gallon of milk that was going south. So, again, definitely worth doing. Someone said on my cheese video that I did last week, that's great, but who has the time for that? I guess that depends on you. And what do you feel is a good expense of your time? Because this is a good expense of my time.
It doesn't take up your time. It just sits there. And
You make this while you're doing other things. It's called multitasking. This is totally worth it. This junket that we use, this rennet, okay? This is about 98 cents a box. You get 8 tablets. You only need a quarter of a tablet, a gallon of milk. Buy it on sale. You don't have to buy special milk, but buy good, wholesome milk. Totally do this. It's so good. Okay, so that's how I make cottage cheese. Keep it in the fridge. Make sure you eat it within, I'd say, 5 days. It's not going to last the day here. My family's going to eat that, and it's going to be gone. I promise. I can think of 1,000 things to make that. So, I hope you try making cottage cheese, and I hope you love it. I know you're going to love it. Thank you for stopping by my kitchen today. I'll make sure to put the recipe and all the procedure on my website, noreenskitchen.com. Until next time, I'll see ya!